I'm Marissa from Rae Gun Ramblings, and today I'm going to share some tips for sewing with vinyl. Enjoy!
I'm making myself a new carry-along tote, and I wanted the bottom to be wipeable because I take this bag everywhere and I lay it on the floor and I just think it's gross, and I want it to be just a little more durable in case there's anything wet on the floor or anything gross. I can wipe it off, I can wash it, but I don't know if you're like me and it's hard to actually get washing done. So what I decided to do was use everyday vinyl that you can just buy at your local store. I just found this stuff at Walmart. It comes on large bolts, and then I wrapped it around the fabric. So when I was making these pieces, I just cut a piece of vinyl extra and I folded it around and I stitched it over just like you would do if you were doing a double layer of fabric. But sewing with vinyl can be a little annoying because when you go to sew, you can see the vinyl just kind of sticks to the sewing machine. So you're going to sew, and normally the feed dogs would nicely pull the fabric through, but in this case I'm not doing anything and it's just giving some resistance, so it can be a pain in the neck to sew. But I'm going to show you a few tricks to do that. First off, you want to keep your vinyl and your fabric pieces in place, but you can see how bulky this gets. Also, you don't want to use pins because that'll poke little holes in the vinyl since it's just some plastic. So what I like to do is use regular old binder clips, just office supply binder clips. These are just the mini size ones that you can buy really inexpensively. And I have linked to where you can get that on Amazon in the description if you're curious. I like to put scraps of ribbon and rickrack on because sometimes I use these for organizational purposes or marking purposes, and that's a nice little trick. So you just use the binder clips to keep these in place, and then you're ready to go. So let me show you my trick on how to keep it from sticking to the sewing machine when you're pushing the vinyl through. So I'm at the last step of sewing my bag. I need to sew the side closed, but part of it is made up of vinyl, and I know that if I just try to push it through, it's gonna stick and become really annoying, probably pucker, and just be frustrating to sew. So I've already pinned my things in place. And then I'm gonna use a little hack, an everyday hack to help get the vinyl through. So I'm just gonna position my sewing machine and start sewing like I normally would. This part is just regular old fabric, so we don't have to worry about that. But when I get close to where the vinyl is, I'm going to lengthen my stitch length. And then I'm going to position some tissue paper. So just regular old tissue paper that you would use to wrap a gift. I'm just gonna position that underneath, and it's gonna help move the vinyl along a little better. So instead of sticking and causing resistance, it's going to flow like a thicker piece of fabric. So it's still not gonna just dive through with the presser dogs, or the presser feet, or the feed dogs, sorry, but it will go on through without the resistance of the fabric catching on the metal. So I like to be slow because that part is extra thick. But do you see how that's going through? Let me show you in a second how it looks when it's finished. But you just feed it through. You're just sewing over your project as well as the tissue paper. And it doesn't have to be in the thicker part of your project. It can just be wherever. and then you just sew like you normally would. Okay, and now let me show you what it looks like. So you have this paper stuck to your sewing machine, or stuck to your project, which is fine because it's tissue paper and we all know how delicate that stuff is. All you have to do is just kind of pull it off. And if there's any little bits, just use your nail or something and kind of scrape it off. And that makes it so much easier to sew than when you just try to do the vinyl alone. It just sticks like crazy. And this is something most people just have in their homes already. And then I'll just go in and kind of pick out the last little bits. But for the most part, you're getting off all of it in one go.
Thanks for watching along, and see more sewing fun at my blog, Rae Gun Ramblings. See you next time.